Senator Begich.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to all of you for being nominated and your service to this country, and I greatly appreciate the time you're taking here and going through a hearing of this nature, so thank you all very much. First, General Welsh, we had a great conversation, I think, yesterday, a lot of conversation about Alaska and some of the concerns we have up there, and I just want, if you could, describe for the record, as we continue to move to the Asia-Pacific kind of posturing and what that means and how you see Alaska's role in that in the sense of its assets that we have there, but also if I can add a little bit of additional, and that's the Arctic and how that plays into it. So maybe give me your thoughts. As you know, matter of fact, I met with some air carriers this morning about their freight traffic, and they talk about Anchorage as an important piece and Fairbanks, obviously, but how important that is for their business. But from a military perspective, as we again move to the Asia-Pacific posturing, give me your thoughts on the Alaska assets and the value or what needs to be done or not, or what your thoughts are there, and then the Arctic, if you could add that to the discussion.
Thank you, Senator. In so many ways, geography still matters in a major way.
You can't move land.
No, sir. You know as well as I do that when our air forces are forward deployed, they serve as component commanders for the air part of a combatant commander's array of forces. Admiral Sam Locklear in Pacific Command is very clear that Alaska and the Air Force forces stationed there, along with the Army forces stationed there, are critical to his posture for the Pacific theater. There's a reason we have our newest fighter based in Alaska. There's a reason we have tanker airlift stationed in Alaska, a tremendous tanker unit, by the way. There's a reason we have tactical airlift, rescue forces, command and control aircraft. Geography matters. So from that perspective, clearly Alaska is a very valuable platform for the United States Air Force. The other thing that matters in a big way to me as a chief of service, if I'm confirmed, is training airspace. It is treasure to us, especially as we go to new generations of aircraft that need more space to operate in, and tactics involve larger spreads between aircraft and different types of scenarios. The range complex in Alaska, as you know, is phenomenal. Red Flag Alaska gives us the opportunity to do another thing that's very important to me as a capability provider in the future, if I'm confirmed, and that's to bring partners together. I had a meeting about a week and a half ago with the Polish Air Chief. His Polish F-16 unit had just returned from their first trip to Red Flag, Alaska, and he wanted to come tell me how much they enjoyed it and how valuable it was as training for them. And also asked my support in getting other newer member nations from NATO to consider doing the same thing. And as you know, there are several who we have invited as an Air Force. And so lots of things are positive about the state of Alaska from an Air Force perspective, Senator. On the Arctic issue, I am not an Arctic expert. The one thing I do know, just from the NATO look at the Arctic in Europe and my air commander job there, is that one of the problems we have is where do you train for Arctic warfare? Where do you test equipment for operating in that environment? Alaska clearly, again, provides us a great opportunity to do that.
Very good. Thank you very much. And for those folks from Poland and others that have those F-16s, you know we have some great F-16s in Fairbanks Isles, and I'll just leave that there for now.
I've heard that, sir.
You've heard that. Let me ask, if I can, for you and General Grasson, you kind of mentioned it regarding the 168th Air Force Refueling Wing. You know, this is the busiest in the Northwest. It's an incredible, as you said, an important asset just because of where it's located and the value and the quantity of fuel. I know there's been a desire in the past by the Air Force to and recognize the need to make this wing, make the wing an association, which is an important piece, which means manpower and so forth. Can either one of you or both of you respond to that? You know, obviously, when you move to that level, it means a different personnel level, but because of its activity and potential of new aircraft, depending on what happens and where those are located in the future, it just seems like the opportunity to consider that or at least review that in the future seems to be worthwhile. And maybe you could, either one of you, give me a comment on that if you could.
Senator, as the Vice Element Commander for U.S. North American Aerospace Defense Command, working closely with Canada, I know the value of those tankers. When we are setting in, whether it's a small aircraft coming through or an aircraft that recently across Canada that went out of communications, those tankers are some of the first ones that go up, both to support the U.S. fighters as well as the Canadian fighters. So I know that value very much. I know there's a balance there, and I'll work very closely with the Air Force, if confirmed, to take a look at that and really work closely with the Director of the Air National Guard to understand it better.
Would both of you be willing to commit to at least review and revisiting the issue of the association for the 168th, as you just kind of mentioned, or are you willing to kind of look at that again just to make sure as you look at your 5- and 10-year plan, is there a need to revisit that? Any comment on both of you on that?
Senator, I'd be happy to look at that. I was not involved in the previous discussions.
Correct.
I have no idea what the reasoning was for not doing that. I would be happy to look into that and get back to you.
Very good.
And Senator, I would be happy as well.
I appreciate it. I just think as we look at this new Asia-Pacific piece, it just seems like that needs to be re-examined based on this larger picture. General Welsh, you know, again, we yesterday talked, and I appreciate the candid discussion we had yesterday. As you know, we had a little struggle, and I think some other senators did too, in the transparency that's necessary for community engagement and understanding of when realignments or situations change in the military operations. And as you know, with the Air Force, we had a little concern, as you know, about in Alaska, and maybe you could just give me your thoughts of this relationship between Air Force, Congress, and the communities as we move through this new age of redeployment, reassignment, realignment. It's always everything's and also our budgetary constraints and how you see your role in creating that kind of transparency that's necessary.
Senator, I believe that the pressures that are on us, especially from a budget perspective now, demand more sharing of information earlier in the process between all the organizations and the bodies you just mentioned. I think there are factors that each one of those groups would bring in with a different perspective. I don't think the Air Force has the entire perspective considered early enough in the process. Part of my emphasis will be to make sure we do, that we're very closely connected to not just the National Guard, Air National Guard, but to the Guard Bureau, confirm that they're clearly closing the distance between them and the Council of Governors and the tags. And I don't think we can move forward in any practical way without the members of the United States Congress being witting and understanding of the intent of the actions we propose.
Very good. Thank you very much. My time is expired. I do have a question I'll leave for the record for you, General Grass, in regards to Sherpas and the Guard and some other issues. I'll just send that in for the record. General Kelly, congratulations. I didn't have a question for you, but if you were Doug Frazier, I would harass him because he was an Alaskan for a little while. But I hope all three of you, even though you're from Southern Command, at some point come to Alaska. It's a great opportunity to see some incredible troops. We just brought back almost 9,000 from Afghanistan a few months ago from our Stryker and others, and they did an exceptional job, and we're very proud of them. And so thank you for your willingness to serve and willingness to take this next position. Thank you.